We're going to do a quick run through to prove to you that Joe Biden is racist. And this is, by the way, before she was his vice president, Kamala Harris calling him out on his racism. Check this out.
Do you agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America then?
No,
do you agree?
I did not oppose busing in America. What I opposed is busing ordered by the Department of Education. That's what I opposed.
Well,
I
there
did
was
not
a
oppose
failure of state.
So he didn't oppose busing, but he opposed busing, ordered by the Department of Education. And then he went on to say, in a quote that we couldn't find that's been hidden by his friends in the media, that he didn't want his kids going to school in the urban jungle. Seems racist to me. Check.
You're just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Wealthy kids, black kids, Asian kids.
Black kids are just as smart as white kids. Wealthy, I gotta cover for myself. Wealthy kids, Asian kids, whatever kids. Whenever this guy screws up and gets caught saying something or says something out of line, instead of trying to put the train back on the tracks, he just lights it on fire and blows it up. That's his style. He's racist. That's what racists do. They say racist things because they are racist, and when they're racist, they can't help themselves, even when there's cameras around.
He's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street.
That's some acting right there. Whew. I think we need to call Tarantino. We need to unchain the banks in Wall Street. He was probably in a room with Al Sharpton learning how to speak right before he made that speech. Anyway, that's not cool because the way he was speaking is not how he normally speaks, which means he was catering to a specific audience because he assumes they speak a certain way. I can almost guarantee you with 100% certainty that the people in that audience do not speak like that. Unchain Wall Street. That's called pandering. It's called being fake, disingenuous, and racist.
I'm going to put you all back in chains.
More of it. He's going to put y'all back in chains. So he's talking like he's a black guy, or how he thinks a black guy sounds. So he gets their attention, right? That's his goal here. But it's fear-mongering. President Trump did nothing of the sort. In fact, black unemployment was at its lowest during his presidency. But somehow that was President Obama's doing. Yeah, it's like everything that's wrong now is President Trump's fault, and everything that was right then was President Obama's fault. You see how they do that every time?
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
And he's not joking. You can't go to you heard it. You can't go to a 7-Eleven or Dunkin' Donuts without, I think what he meant to say was hearing an Indian accent, but this guy screws up everything he says. Point being, another racist remark, and then he went on to say, I'm not joking. He wanted you to know that he was serious about his racially charged remark.
Even call centers, which rushed overseas in the hundreds of thousands. How many times you get the call? I'd like to talk to you about your credit card. I'd like to talk to you about your...
Why would you bring that up? What's the relevance? Unless you seek to bring call centers to America, which you don't, you've demonstrated to the American people that you're intent on shipping our jobs to other countries, even countries that don't like us, like Russia and China. You did it almost day one in the Oval Office. You ended construction on the Keystone Pipeline, making us not energy independent. Guess who's going to handle that? The Middle East. Guess who's going to control it? Russia. And then you went on and gave the green light to Russia after they cyber attacked us half a dozen times to continue with the Nord Stream pipeline. Wonder what's going on there.
It's a large, very identifiable Somali community. I might add, if you ever come to the train station with me, you'll notice that I have great relationships with them because there's an awful lot who are driving cabs.
So if someone's driving a cab, you can identify them as a Somali. It's called racial profiling. It's called racism. And by the way, it makes him not racist because he's got a good relationship with them, because he's driven in their cabs with them. Right. I'd like to know how many of those Somali cab drivers that he's got such great relationships with have ever been over to his house for dinner, because when I have a great relationship with somebody, I eat dinner with them. I invite them over. I hang out with them. Lion Joe, what a mess.
What a mess.
State. My state was a slave state. My state is a border state. My state is the 8th largest black population in the country. My state is anything from a northeast liberal state.
Seemed pretty proud that he's a border state, a slave state, far from a liberal state. I don't know what the relevance there was other than, I don't know. Didn't make any sense. I don't know what the relevance again was other than he's not what he says he is.
They picked 58 women, turns out, from the hood.
58 women from the hood. What the heck do you think the hood means? What is he referring to? I don't think he's referring to the neighborhood he lives in. Here is the kicker.
More questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the...
That's probably the most racist thing ever said by a presidential candidate. And this dumbass doesn't have the, I don't know, mental agility. I don't know what you'd call it. The common sense, the intuition not to say these things on camera. You're not black if you vote for the other guy. That means basically all black people can't think for themselves. They can't have a difference of opinion. They all have to think the same exact way, and that's to vote for Joe Biden. Again, one of the most racist things I'd argue that a presidential candidate has ever said. Yet, we're the racists, right? So think again next time they call you a racist. Point out things like this. Pull up these clips. Show the people that call you a racist just because you're a Republican. Pull this stuff up, show it to them, prove them wrong. Don't let them get away with it any longer. Silent majority, no more. Take back this country or we lose it for good. Until next time, I'm Jason Mariner, your host, and I pray for you, your family, the Constitution, what's left of the not-so-United States of America. Be well, everyone.